Hi there and welcome to my channel. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope 2019 is an awesome year. Now, today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team, and I'm very excited to share what I created because, as always, this project started with sort of an idea in mind, and then I changed my mind. So what I'm starting with is a foundation paper that had pre-yeso, and I had this idea of creating a background full of flowers that I was going to use as a background or kind of sort of back a cutout. But as I played with my first flower, didn't like it, thought it was a lot of white, not what I had in mind. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to create a little bit of watercolor. And my idea is I'm just going to do a little section on the side. I want to kind of create pattern paper to back a cutout. And you're going to see how I create the cutout and everything. So all I'm doing is using a combination of yellow. This is a yellow. It's kind of an orangey tone that comes from the neutral set. And then I'm mixing it with some fuchsia, and you're gonna see I'm gonna bring some peach and some red. And all I'm doing is scribbling the crayon onto my mat, adding a little bit of water just to dilute it and make it into watercolor. Then I'm spraying a little bit of the water using the Mr. bottles from Vicki. And then I'm just gonna drop a little bit of the pigment and gonna let the paper do its own. Now that's what I have pre-yes to the background. And you're gonna see that it takes no time. I'm actually gonna go in and out of, I'm actually gonna speed up the process and go in and out because it's not that it took a while, but does take some time because I went into sections and then I mixed the colors together a bit. So like I said before, all I wanted was a colorful background. And one of the reasons that I picked these colors is because honestly, Toronto, for being January, it's really, really warm. And I had this picture of my niece and my sister a couple of weeks ago, like in December, was my birthday. They came over to spend the day here, and my niece is wearing this really fuchsia pink jacket, and I just wanted to pick on these colors. And I love the combination of the yellow with the pink, so I thought it was gonna work really great for this picture. So like I said before, I'm going back to the layout. All I'm doing is adding art crayon, and all I did is dilute it with a little bit of water, spray a little bit of my Mr. bottle, and then just drop the pigment on it and let the paper and the water do its own thing. And that's one of the reasons why I pre-yeso the page. I just want to make sure that I tell you because it's one of the easiest way to create watercolor. One of the reasons that I work this way is because as the watercolor dries, I'm able to add a little bit more color and then deepen the color. So try it. Like if you have any questions, this is one of the easiest ways. And if you make a mistake, just you can die cut the paper or use it for something else. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind when you work in this, especially if you don't want to create one single color, is to work in sections. So as you're gonna see, I started with the yellow, and then I went into the fuchsia, and then I worked the peach, and then a little bit of the pink, and then I'm just I make sure that like I've put the layer down before I start the new one. And what I try to do too is not to follow the same pattern because I don't want the colors to muddle right away. So let them dry a little bit and then I start a new section. Now, when I'm creating this background, like I said before, my idea was that I wanted to create pattern paper to back my cutout. So I am thinking, it's not that noticeable, but I'm trying to think I need to form a part of a heart in the background. So I'm not going to fill the entire page, but just kind of an idea of how big of a heart I have in my stash, because I do keep a stash of die cuts that I created or that I used my machine to cut that I didn't use or did not end up using. Sometimes I just set my machine to cut a few, just not to waste the paper one and then not to waste time when I need it. So this is one of them. So all I'm doing right now, like I said, once the background is done and you're going to see that I'm adding some splatters, I'm going to set it aside to dry. And it takes no time to dry. I want to make sure though this time that it dries completely because I don't want the buckle. Now this is one, like I said, one of the cutouts that I have on my stash. And all I'm going to do is kind of mark on the die cut exactly the area that I want to show from the background. Once I have that done, I am using actually heavy cardstock. I'm not using Vicki's foundation. I use Vicki's foundation for the background, but I'm just using basil marshmallow for the layout. And all I'm going to do is once I mark the heart, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it with my pair of scissors. You can actually draw it. You can print it off the internet and just trace it onto the page. One of the easiest way to create a cutout. Now, Once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and actually create a stitching guide. And for that, all I'm going to use is this is a paper piercing tool and just a piece of foam underneath. I want to stitch around the entire edge of the heart that I created. Now, I love hand stitching. You can use machine stitching. You don't have to stitch. It's just I wanted to create that dimension. Now, why I stitched is because when you stitch, especially because I'm using 6 strands of embroidery thread, it's going to create a little bit of a lift. And I want to create that shadow effect between the cutout and the pattern paper, in this case, of the background that I created. So what I'm using right now is I'm using a chain stitch. And this is just a matter of, I love hand stitching. So it's not something that I know a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't have the patience. I enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me. So all I'm doing is I'm working on a chain stitch, and I think Paige Evans has a tutorial on how to create it. Now, didn't take that long to create the hand stitch, but before I finished it, I remember that I wanted to create a pattern paper. Even though I like the paper that I have, the watercolor, I want to bring in flowers because I have this idea that I want to add quite a bit of flowers to the background. So my idea was, I was thinking to use gold, but I don't want to. Like I said, I don't want to add texture. I just want to create a pattern paper. So I'm going to add yeso. The yeso is going to dull a little bit of the color underneath, but it is going to show me also the little outline of the flower, of the stencil that I'm using. And in this case, I am using the flower stencil from Vicky's All the Good Things collection, and just a little bit of yeso and my stencil brush. And all I did is add the yeso to my mat, and I'm going to spread it a bit, and then I'm going to pick up the color, a little bit of the yeso, sorry, with my stencil brush, and then go on a circular motion on top of the stencil. I want to create the impression of the flowers. Now, one thing that you're going to see me do is I try to avoid the straight lines that form the frame that is holding the flowers together. I don't want to have the straight line. I don't mind having flowers that are superimposed, so that means that the image is, I might see a half a flower just because I don't have a big stencil. I don't mind that, but I don't want to have the straight edges. Once I have that done, I'm going to set it aside to dry, and then I went back to finish the stitching. Now, when it was all dry, since when I created the pattern paper, in this case, that the watercolor that I'm going to use to back the cutout, I left a little edge just because I didn't want the watercolor to go all the way to the edge, because I knew that it could buckle the page at the end really bad. So I left a little bit. I'm going to say like maybe a quarter of an inch. So I'm going to trim that. Now that I have that in place, like I said before, when you stitch, you create a little bit of dimension based on the number of embroidery threads that you use. Since I use 6, there is going to be a little gap, and I don't want my paper to dip. So the solution for that is to use a little bit of foam adhesive to fill the part that is not that is behind the rest of the layer besides the stitching. And then for that, I am using foam. This is fun foam that I bought at the dollar store. And then I'm gonna glue, I'll add the glue, straight onto the back of the stitch, and that is gonna create that little shadow effect that you're gonna see. Super simple. Now, this is the picture that I said of my sister and my niece, and all I'm gonna do is pull some papers from Field Notes collection, and I'm pulling out ones that have quite a bit of pinks, and I really like the fuchsia paper that has the flowers, because like I said, my idea was to add quite a bit of flowers to this layer. So I'm just back in the picture again. I'm gonna glue the picture straight onto the stitch. That means that I'm gonna create a little bit of dimension because the stitch is creating dimension. So I'm gonna use some foam adhesive just to make sure the picture is even and is not dipping. Once I have that in place, I'm gonna use my 3 ruler actually to keep it straight. I don't want it to be crooked just because the shape of the heart, otherwise it's gonna look very distorted to me. It's up to you. It's just, I like straight lines in this case. So like I said before, my idea is I want to use quite a bit of flowers. I have quite a bit of flowers too in my stash. So I'm going to use a combination of white flowers just so I can match the ones that I created in the background, and some pink so I can pick the color of my niece's coat. And then I'm going to use some flowers. I'm going to bring a little bit of accents of yellow because I have yellow in the background. So I'm kind of creating a diagonal design in a way. And I'm using a combination of flowers from the Field Notes collection, some of the chipboard, some of the ephemera stickers, and one of the things I'm going to use is enamel dots. So I'm using this one for my stash. And then once I had that set, you see the butterfly, I added a butterfly because I love butterflies. And I thought I'm going to put a title. And I wanted to put the title at the bottom of the picture, but I want to keep it really white. For some reason, I wanted the flowers and the picture to pop. So I decided to actually use the pattern paper or the background that I created as the place for my title. So I'm gonna use a combination of the puffy stickers from the Field Notes collection, the word ones, and also the alphas from the All the Good Things collection. And I'm out of L's, so I used an I and a little piece of a set to create my L. So that's pretty much my title. Now, when I started just working on some of the embellishments, I wanted to add another pop of pink underneath the big smiles chipboard. So my choice was to add one of the clear stickers, but I wanted to look like if it was coming off the stitching. So all I did is glue it on top of the stitching and just trim that part. And I'm just adding a few more white flowers because I just want to make sure, like I said, I want to bring some of the background on to the ephemera pieces. I'm gonna move the butterfly to the title just to create my triangle, and then I'm gonna add that yellow circle that comes from Vicky's sticker book just to bring a little bit more of the yellow. And I'm gonna use the little black dots that are in the puffy stickers just to bring those pops of black from my from the title and also from my sister's jacket. After that, I know that I need to warm it up, and I'm gonna bring some gold. So all I'm doing is diluting some of the gold glaze and just gonna add some droplets around the page, especially like in the areas where I think there's quite a bit of whiteness, if you want to call it. And that's pretty much it. Outside of the camera, I just added a few lines of journal underneath the picture. Super simple, took less than an hour to put together, and just because of the drawing time and the stitching. So try it. As always, if you have a question, don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be willing to help you with anything. And I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to check out Vicky's products. Soon you'll be seeing a whole new collection, and it's amazing. So stay tuned, guys, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.